Many of you might agree with me that 2020 was a year that escalated the injustices and biases that our society keeps holding on to very tightly. There are yet changes needed as it relates to diversity, equity, and inclusion. In the mid-1960s, the great recording artist Sam Cooke released the song entitled, "A Change Is Gonna Come." Well, here we are in 2021, yet working on that change. Here we are in 2021, in the heart of a pandemic, yet trying to figure out how the change can become a reality. As citizens of the United States of America, we must be the change agents. Each of us must be a piece of the puzzle that not only identifies and admits our cultural baggage, but become a repairer of the breach because we no longer want to carry this baggage. And as a repairer of the breach, each of us will bridge the gap of inequality. We will bridge the gap of a lack of empathy and have the desire for equity, inclusion, and diversity. We will make this repairing become a reality. The late great orator, minister, and civil rights leader, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. once said, and I quote, "The richer we become materially, the poorer we become morally and spiritually. We have learned to fly in the air like birds and swim in the sea like fish, but we have not learned the simple art of living together as brothers," end quote. In other words, Dr. King was saying, can we all become repairers of the breach? So how can this repairing of cultural breaches become a reality? First, we must be honest and admit that the baggage is there and bring to light some methods of repairing this baggage breach. Secondly, we must bring to light some cultural language barriers that we all have and encourage each of us to help redevelop methods to bridge the gap of equity, inclusion, and diversity in our society. One of my mentors, John Maxwell, wrote a book entitled "Everyone Communicates, but Few Connect." Do you know that connecting with people will mend many of the breaches we have in our society? I know that sounds easy, right? But it's not. It's not because we like our baggage. We have become comfortable with our baggage. We are familiar with our baggage. But Maxwell said in his book, and I quote, "Even if connecting with others isn't something you're good at today, you can learn how to do it and become better tomorrow," end quote. So what was John really saying? He was saying we must get rid of some of this cultural baggage. I've discovered in my 30 plus years of teaching, preaching, and leadership training that there were two important things that we as citizens can do to repair cultural breaches. Those two things are listening and valuing people. Ralph Nichols once said, "The most basic of all human needs is the need to understand and be understood. The best way to understand people is to listen to them." About 10 years ago, I found Nichols' statement to be very true. I had to be the repairer of a breach with a student. I remember clearly his comment into my English class using harsh profanity. Every other word spoken was profanity. I informed him that the language he was using could not be used in my class. His rebuttal was, "Well, ma'am, that's just how I talk." After hearing those words from him, I decided to just listen to him. He began to tell me that profanity were the only words he and his family used at home. That was the only way they knew how to relate to each other. By listening, I was able to let him know that in my house, and I meant my classroom, we don't use those words. And I told him to allow me to help him practice using other words. Sometimes we just need to listen and learn other cultures. That one moment of listening helped me teach that student throughout the semester how to speak intelligently to his professor, how to speak intelligently on a job interview, how to become diverse and adapt to new environments. By the end of the semester, that student was a totally different person. The second discovery I mentioned was valuing people. While it may be human to treat people differently according to the situation, the highest standard of interaction with others is the golden rule, meaning you treat others as you would want them to treat you. But guess what? I recently learned from a good friend that there's also a platinum rule. Treat people how they want to be treated. Every person wants to be valued, and valuing people will give them so much dignity, self-respect, and confidence. I hope that part one of identifying our cultural baggage and becoming the repairers of the breach has encouraged you to become a change agent in our society. Each one of us can reach one, and we can make Sam Cooke's song become a reality about change. Each one can reach one and bridge the gap of equity, diversity, and inclusion in our society. Thank you.